Hello, everyone. My name is Elliot Howard. I am chairman of the board of Services Cooperative Association, and my guest today and co-host actually is Jerry Cooper, who's a past chairman of the board for Services Cooperative Association. Services Cooperative Association is a business cooperative development group, which actually has been chartered by the city of Houston for business development, helping entrepreneurs of all backgrounds, genders to pursue their goals and dreams of business ownership, providing services and mentorship to those business owners and professionals so that way they can become more effective leaders within their business and becoming pillars within the community. So, and today we have, again, Jerry Cooper, who is the CEO of CDC Integrated Services, and he's also been a past chairman of the board for Services Cooperative Association. Hello, Jerry. Thanks for joining us.
Well, it's nice talking with you, Howard. I was really pleased to get your invitation to participate in this podcast and to help expand information about the Services Cooperative Association. During my time there, I learned a great deal that was very helpful to my business. And so I have been a wholehearted supporter of the SCA programs since I first came in contact with the organization. As you and Dean are fond of saying, it's been around for 39 years and successfully. You don't last that long unless you have a model that works. And so I'm delighted to have this opportunity to talk with you about SCA and why business owners who are starting out should seriously consider participating in its processes, because it isn't a networking activity as people traditionally think about it. As you are often talking about it, it is actually a weekly meeting that's constructed on a workshop basis, and that's profoundly important.
And I know from being involved with the organization since 2017, it has definitely been an organization that has helped me out in developing me as a professional and as a business owner in my own right. And over the years, I've seen and interacted with a number of business owners, and we've developed, and I guess you could call us children of Services Cooperative Association. So it's good to spread the gospel of humbling yourself and learning from individuals that have more experience than you and maybe have better skill sets in particular areas. Is only going to make you better as a professional and as a business leader. So today, what the purpose of the podcast is, we're going to talk about, of course, we are focusing on business, and so it's going to have a business topic of the day supplied by Jerry Cooper, and of course, then we're also going to talk about a lesson topic for business owners. And then we'll talk about, again, the weekly CrossRoads Business Building Breakfast that Services Cooperative Association has every Wednesday at 7:30 a.m. But we'll have that for the end of the podcast. So, Jerry, what has been the news of the week within business that you would like to discuss today on our podcast?
Well, one of the things that my company deals with is conflict in the workplace. We are a conflict solutions company, and we do most of our work inside other companies. We are called in to assist them when they're experiencing conflict that their own processes and policies are not successful in resolving. And so it's interesting you raised that question today, because I was doing a fair amount of research over the past week and getting ready for an upcoming project that we're doing in a company. And there's a lot of information out there about people who are quitting work. They're resigning from the jobs that they have. And there's a lot of misinformation about that.
Okay.
For example, if you read the Wall Street Journal recently. They reported that nationally we hired something like 370,000 people into the workforce across the country. What the article, buried deep in the article, is also the admission that we lost 340,000 jobs in the past month because people quit.
Wow.
People have been resigning from their existing job since roughly November of 2020, all the way through last year and into this year. They are resigning from the work they have traditionally done, and they're going off to do other things, or just taking a sabbatical, if you will, and not working at the moment. And that is having impact on existing labor resources. One of the reasons that I'm being called in by this company is that they are way understaffed, and they're trying to figure out how to get the work done with the limited staff they have, and it's causing conflicts. And one of the reasons I'm being brought in is because of my company's experience in dealing with workplace conflict. We're going to try and construct, well, we're not going to try, we are going to construct a coaching process for this company so it can coach its employees through this crisis point that they're in, where they have all this work and they don't have enough people to do it, and they want to hold on to the people they have, and they know that throwing money at isn't the solution to the problem. They have to figure out how to get the existing staff to work differently so they can meet the critical deadlines with the people they have. It's proving to be a very big challenge for them. And so they want to head off conflict before it occurs. But this is going to be a long, drawn out process, because all companies, whether here locally in Houston or more widely around the country, they're going to be struggling over the next few years to find enough people to get done the things they need to get done. And so this company is bringing us in to help them overcome some of these early day hurdles that are preventing them from figuring things out in a constructive way. And it's only going to get worse.
So when it comes to conflict, is conflict necessarily a bad thing, or is it just a notification that there's a need for a change within the business?
No, conflict can be good. It promotes innovation, and it helps people become more creative. Conflict in the proper setting is helpful and healthy. The problem that companies have is that the type of conflict that is healthy is almost always resolves itself organically. It doesn't really need outside help.
Okay.
On any given day, in any company over a certain size, you have 500 or 1,000 conflicts that rise up, and all of the 92 to 95% of those conflicts resolve organically. They don't need outside help. They move along. Sometimes, like you think about a train that starts and stops and starts and stops, but eventually the train moves on out on the track. Well, that's how a lot of conflicts are. There's this herky-jerky process that they go through, but they resolve themselves.
Right.
The conflicts that are not resolved are the ones that quickly become negative. And the longer they are unresolved, the more negative they become, and the more intractable they become. And that is where we do our work.
So can you give me an example of what would be a negative conflict? What is an example of a negative conflict that a company could end up having? What's the scenario that you're discussing?
Well, I can give you an easy one.
Okay.
One of the most frequent sources of negative conflict inside companies are badly designed incentive programs.
Okay.
That pit one employee against another.
Okay.
Okay, those can quickly, not speak English, Jerry, those can quickly escalate out of control, because people who are in incentive programs, some do well, some do modestly well, some don't do as good. And the fact that you quickly begin not only separating the people who like incentive programs and find a way to work in that environment versus those who struggle to work in that environment. it does not make the person who struggles in a incentive-based program, doesn't make him less of a competent employee. He just doesn't deal with that kind of environment very well. And so that can create festering resentment.
Okay.
And so, but it's one thing to create a sense of competition that helps an entire department do better. But when you start singling individuals out, and then those kinds of incentive programs can become perverse processes that can harm the cohesion of a group.
Okay. So
there are other areas inside a work environment that can quickly create a negative conflict.
okay.
For example, if you have a group of people that are working on a project and they are basically working through, okay, is this the better alternative, or is this over here the better alternative, or is that third one over there still a better alternative? And this examination by a group of various alternatives for moving forward is necessary, but many supervisors try and push that process through much faster. And all of a sudden, instead of taking time for a consensus within the group to build, all of a sudden the supervisor is pushing for either this alternative or that alternative. And as soon as one is picked over the other before the group is ready to accept this or that, then all of a sudden you have people in that dynamic thinking that, okay, the supervisors prefers them over us.
All right.
So if a supervisor pushes a group through a project discussion too quickly, he creates a sense of winners and losers far sooner than is ever advisable. And so that can create not only hostility, but a very negative work environment.